everybody, it's Wednesday. Welcome back to my channel for this week's Shimelle's Sketches Reimagined. For this week, we are working with sketch number 9. So this sketch has a lot of pattern papers in here, 2 4x6 photos, and then this single strip down the middle. I'm going to play with it just a little bit. So these papers that are the background, these 4 papers, we're going to use those. For my title, I have this really cute cut file from Cut to You, and I'm going to back in all different pattern papers, all the of and today. And so my title is going to kind of leave these bounds, and I'm probably going to pull it down and put it just above here. These circles, I am undecided yet. I'm not sure if I'll do them or if what I may do is I'm actually thinking about putting the title above my 2 photos, putting a cluster of embellishments that go off the edge here, and putting a cluster of embellishments that go off the edge here, and then just leaving the photos together in the middle. That's what I'm thinking. That's where my head is at. Anyway, so I have chosen the field trip collection for today, so I'm going to be working. I picked 4 papers that kind of set my photos off. And then these are my 2 photos, and then my plan is to go ahead and back this cut file with all the colorful papers. So I'm going to go ahead and back my cut file, and then I'll come back and we'll get to this layout together. So while I go ahead and start to gut my papers, I'm going to probably sneeze at least once during this video, and for that I apologize. I am very allergic to grass, and I was out doing yard work all day before coming in to do this voiceover, and I've already sneezed like 3 times before I ever got around to voicing this over, so I probably will be sneezing. Hopefully not too often, and I apologize. So I'm going to start by gutting this beautiful paper because, well, this should be new for some of you. If you watch my channel a lot, you know that generally I'm not a paper gutter, but number 1, I'm being incredibly stingy with all of my Shimelle things right now, because if you haven't heard, she won't be designing for American Crafts anymore. And number 2, I can't buy new paper, so I have to make what I have last. So I gutted that really pretty mosaic background paper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these 2 sheets on top. And I'm actually going to use, so I'm trimming this blue down, but then I'm actually going to use the blue for the parts that I'm trimming down I'm going to use. And then I have this beautiful kaleidoscope paper, which is my favorite paper. And this was my favorite paper of the entire field trip line. And so I decided to use it because a lot of it will be a show. Like, you'll be able to see a good bit of this paper, which makes my heart happy. So I'm going to use this little triangle paper, and I'm going to cut it to like 4, right around 4. Now, I didn't gut that blue paper because I didn't want to make my page too flimsy to work in my albums. Like, I didn't want to make it too flimsy, but this worked just fine. So now I have this cut file, and I used all scraps to fill in this cut file. It says all the goodness of today. I know in this video it looks like it's hard to read, but trust me, in the actual layout you can read it it's just fine. I think even in the pictures it looks fine. It's just because of my really super bright lights. So I'm just getting all these layers together, deciding how I want them to be, because this layout, once I get these paper layers right and glue them down, the rest of this layout comes together really quick. So you can see me here. I'm trying out adding a strip of navy between just a little strip of navy between the kaleidoscope paper, and I really like that. So that's definitely what we're going to be doing for this layout. Now, there are so many ways you could embellish this. It's a really simple page design, and once you get those base papers down, you could really embellish as much or as little as you want. Because I really love these papers, and I didn't want to I didn't want to add too much on top of them. I wanted them to really be part of my layout design. And because they really looked great with all the circles and then all the circles on my photo, I decided to go ahead and leave them pretty much like this. So right now, I think I'm just trying to make sure I like that first of all, and then seeing if I have any other strips of that navy paper in my stash. Because that one isn't 12 inches long. But in the end, I didn't. So I just went ahead and trimmed ever so carefully this one 1-inch strip of paper. You can see that, like, lining it up just so I just have just enough to put on either side of that triangle paper. Okay, so now it's just a lot of taping. I have all of the papers cut down, but nothing is adhered. So I'm going to start with some 1/8 inch score tape, and I'm going to go ahead and use the score tape and then my tape runner to get all of these different layers down onto my scrapbook page. That pink ruler that you saw me use to get my paper, it is from my Sweet Petunia. It's called a cut-a-line guide. And it is fabulous for getting 12 by 12 scrapbook papers. You can also get it in a short one. It comes in a pack of 2. If you have a guillotine trimmer, it's a really great little nifty thing to have hanging around for when you want to gut a paper. So initially I used 3/4 inch score tape, but then I switched to 1/8 because I felt like if I did the 3/4 inch, it was going to be too thick, and I wasn't going to be able to get my papers lined up correctly. So then I just used tape runner for the kaleidoscope paper and tape runner for this triangle paper. And yes, it is the B-side to these Dinosaurs in Space. You guys know how much I love my B-sides. But I think that the mosaic paper and the kaleidoscope paper are the A-sides. So I'm going to go ahead and get this strip down the middle, and then I'm going to tuck in those little pieces of the navy blue on either side. This layout literally, once I had the cut file backed, and the cut file was backed in way less time than most cut files are for me. But once I had the cut file backed, this layout literally, my raw footage that I had to edit together for this video was like 25 minutes. And that's before I sped it up and before anything. So I did leave a little bit extra of my process in this, just so the video wouldn't be like 5 minutes. I'm just trimming off the edges, getting all of these paper layers together. And I'm sure I'm doing something here. Oh, I can almost guarantee you I'm just trimming the bottom because I'm fastidious about even edges on my pages. And here's my photos. I did have to kind of space these just so, because my cut file, which is going to serve as my title, is really a good bit of the top. So in the sketch, I kind of shifted everything down a bit to make sure that I had room for my cut file. And then I'm not going to do a whole lot of embellishing. Like I said, I really love these pattern papers. I really love how they set my photos off, and I didn't really see a big need to have a lot of embellishment going on. Plus, there's all that pattern in the cut file as well. So I'm just going to use my tape runner to put my cut file down and get it kind of centered right there. Now, it does go off the edges, and I'm totally fine with that. I didn't worry about it. I just kind of went with it because I liked the way it looked. So for embellishments, I decided just to go super simple. So I'm just going to take these 3 die cuts that are the circles that look like the spirographs, and I'm going to create kind of like 3 little clusters to pull more of the spirograph designs into the front of the layout. I do have 2 packs of this ephemera, so I have more of the spirographs. These are the only 3 that come in the die cut pack. So, and I have 2 die cut packs, so we're good with that. And I'm just going to go ahead and place them right where you see them. And yeah, that's about it. I think the only thing I'm going to do is to add a couple of enamel dots to set off each of my little spirographs. So I think one of these days I have to try to use the Thunderbolt enamel dots in this pack, because you can see here, I think I have 3 packs of those enamel dots, but I've used like all the circles and most of the stars. So next time I pull out Field Trip, I need to challenge myself to use the Thunderbolts. All right, that's going to complete this layout. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Wednesday or Thursday, because some of my peeps are down below and across the pond, and it's Thursday for them. And I will see you all again next Wednesday. Bye.